Okay, hello everybody. We are now starting the second chapter of the book on companies and partnerships. Now, I'm not going to deal with partnership for a start because it's not very popular nowadays. There are still partnership going on in the real world, but not as much as it used to be anymore. What is much more popular today, especially in international business, is company. Alright, so I would deal mainly in chapter 2 on companies. I'll leave partnership to the very end. Maybe I'll spend very little time on partnership, just briefly talking about it at the end of chapter 2. Right, so I will start with companies first. Now, this word company, right, you encounter it many times in your other subjects, because many things that we do in business, many actions that we do in business today is done with a company or through a company, right? It's either you're buying or selling something or some services to a company or from a company, right? Or you're buying or selling something or services for a company, right? So we have to consider, before we even go into the law part of a company or the legal issues or the legal aspects of a company, we have to consider, first of all, well, what is this thing we call a company? I mean, you dealt in other subjects, many case studies, is always not an individual, well, it's not always, but many times it's not an individual person buying something or some services. It's most of the time a company, right? Buying something or buying some services or selling something or selling some services. But what is this thing you call a company? And why? Why? This is the first question here I have. Why have a company in the first place? Right? Why have a company? Why not operate a business by yourself, a person? There are some businesses like you see, in front of, say, for example, a department store at night in the car park. You get a stall set up, selling some clothes, selling some food, selling some smartphones. Right? They're all run by individual persons. One person. Right? One man show, one woman show. It doesn't have to be done through a company. So we need to first consider the question, why have a company in the first place? Whatever business you choose to do or whatever you want to do with your life, you cannot avoid buying or selling something or some services with a company. So what is this thing we call a company? Maybe we should, instead of asking what is this thing we call a company, it's better we ask why have a company in the first place. Okay, I think by asking why instead of what, I think it's more personally related to you. The answers to why have a company instead of what is a company is more personally related to you. So I'll start from there. Why have a company? And then when we figure out why we have a company, then we go to the second question. Well, who are the main players in the company? After all, as we talked about before, a company is a juristic person. It's not a human being, right? We talked about that it has to have agents, representative. The directors are the people who represents the company. Well, where do the directors of the company come from? They don't just drop from the sky or beam down from the sky, or they don't just show up at a company and say, we're going to be the directors. No. Right? They got to come from somewhere. Somebody's going to put them there. And if it's somebody that puts them there, well, who put them there? Who is this somebody? And why? So there's all these other background questions we got to figure out before we even get into the legal details of a company or the legal issues related to a company. So let's sort out the background first. So maybe I'll use this opportunity to introduce to you a company right? And also to go further, right, by telling you a story on how the company is formed, starting from something in an idea, as an idea in somebody's head, into the point where it becomes a juristic person. I think by explaining all the steps that takes place from the moment the company comes as an idea, bing, in somebody's brain, to the moment that it is born as a juristic person or registered as a juristic person, then you can actually see who are the main players of the company and why these people are there. And then you can actually see, how the company actually works, rather than it's just, company is selling this, company is buying that, right? It's very dry and it doesn't have much of a meaning. And it's not, you don't feel the relation to your life, right? Because whatever you want to do in your life, you're probably going to have to be dealing with this company. Now, and the other thing I need to highlight for some students who may be wondering, from now until maybe the next lecture, I talk about company in general, which means I'm talking about, excuse me, I'm talking about all kinds of company, whether it's private company, company limited, public company limited. I'm talking about all these kinds of company, right? I'm using the word company as a generic term here. We haven't gone to the specific kinds yet. All right, so far it's just company as in all kinds of company, right? For now, for this lecture, all right? Okay, why have a company? Maybe you want to ponder for a bit. All right. Many people in the past, they like to look at what they study in other subjects, other textbooks, and they say, limited liability. What is limited liability? What exactly is limited liability? Okay, what is liability? All right. Okay. There are different books, different people commenting on the different reasons of why people want to operate business through a juristic person of a company instead of an individual person running the business, individual human being running the business. I would summarize it in one word, one key word. The word is other people. What do I mean by other people? Well, you may need to write some of this down because there might not be enough space here for me to write. If you, a human being, a human person alone, operates a business, runs the shop, selling clothes, selling cell phones, selling smartphones, how many smartphones can you buy? How much clothes can you buy to sell? How much clothes can you make to sell? Not many, right? Because your money to buy all these things to sell or to make all these things to sell is quite limited. So this is where other people comes in. With a company, you can get other people's money. Other people's money. How? For example, you have 100,000. 100,000 can only buy you so many clothes to sell, so many cell phones to sell, make so many clothes to sell. But if you can get money from other people, you would raise probably, let's say 500,000 baht, right? And 500,000 is certainly a lot more cell phones you can buy to sell, a lot more clothes you can buy to sell or make to sell, right? And how do you get other people's money? How does the company get other people's money? You guessed it, by selling shares. The company sells shares. What are shares? Shares are just pieces of paper, right? Or they call it a share certificate. Sold to people. People pay money for these shares. This money is paid to where? The money is paid into the company's bank account. Right? The company sells shares to other people, including you. Also, you will buy the shares. Right? People pay money for the shares. You pay money for the shares. The money goes into the company's bank account. The example we give, 5 million baht. Sorry, if I put 500,000, right? So 500,000 baht will be kept here. And this 500,000 baht is what is known as the capital of the company. Thunของบริษัท you call it in Thai. And with this amount of money, it's certainly more than your 100,000 baht. And with 500,000 baht, you would go and buy clothes to sell, buy cell phones to sell, pay for the electricity in your shop, right? Pay for the furniture in your shop, right? Employ people, maybe pay for the rent in your shop. All the money comes here. But hey, it's not all your money. It's other people's money. Now this comes to the next question people would ask. Ajahn, why? Why would people want to give you money? I mean, who are you? Right? You may be just somebody who just graduated from the university. Right? Nobody knows you. You are a no-namer. I mean, you're not Jack Ma or Steve Jobs, where people is rushing to buy your company shares. You're not Lazada or Apple or Microsoft, right? Or CP. You're just somebody from the university who just graduated. Who knows you? Right? Why would people want to buy your shares? Well, as some of you may have guessed it, there is an opportunity to get profit. I'll put here. Possibility for profit. Possibility. Because maybe the company will make a loss. No profit. No profit, can't share the profit. Or you would call dividend. Jack Pan Pon. The profit that the company shares out to people is known as a dividend. Right? Pan Pon. No profit, no dividend to pay. So one reason where other people will want to buy the share is buy your shares is there is a possibility for profit. But it's only a possibility. Alright, a hope, not guarantee. If the company doesn't make profit, then people has no dividend to share. You don't get the dividend too because you also bought shares, right? So this again comes to the same reason. Well, then why would people want to buy the share if there's no guarantee? Well, yes, there's no guarantee for profit. But hey, If there's no profit and no dividend to pay, how much would people have lost? Yes, you're right. They would have lost the money that they used to buy the shares. They would have lost the money that they have used to buy the shares. That's all they have lost. So if let's say the company sells shares, and let's say the company's share price is one share 100 baht. One share 100 baht. Let's say I buy 2 shares. 2 shares is 200 baht, right? 1 share 100 baht, 2 shares 200 baht. Right? Now with the 2 shares, if the company doesn't make profit at the end of the year, I don't get any dividends. But hey, how much I have lost? 200 baht. I don't lose more than that. Right? So this is what they mean by limited. Limited risk. My risk in investing or buying the shares is limited to the amount of money that I used to purchase the shares, 200 baht. There's another thing that would make people quite happy to invest in the shares of your company and thereby giving you more money or more capital. And that is what you learn from other subjects called limited liability. Okay, Liability. Okay, it's kind of interrupted here by the arrow. Limited liability. Or in Thai they call liability, they call ความรับผิด จำกัดความรับผิด What do you mean by limited liability? Well, if the company makes a loss, ขาดทุน right, and they cannot continue with the business, alright, and the company may have to pay back the bank some money they borrow, pay back the creditors that they owe money to. The shareholder, me who bought 200 baht, would not have to pay the money that is owed to the bank. Company would pay. My liability as a shareholder is limited to, I repeat, my liability as a shareholder is limited to only the 200 baht that I used to buy the shares. So for example, let's use the example here. Alright, let's say company B borrows 10 million baht from SCB Bank. Alright, this amount is the debt amount, or they call จำนวนหนี้. I write it short, okay, AMT as in amount. Alright, and the company cannot pay back this amount. Default in making payment of the debt. ค้างชำระหนี้ default in making payment of the debt. Who pays then? Should I, as the shareholder who bought 2 shares at 200 baht, come and pay SCB? No. This is what it means by limited liability. My liability, my ความรับผิด is limited to only the 200 baht I paid for the shares. Well, then how is the company going to pay? Well, one way is the company would have to liquidate, ล้มละลาย would have to sell the properties of the company. The company's cars, the company's furniture, the company's notebook, computers, every think that the company owns, including properties too, would have to be sold. Get the money from the sale and pay back to SCB Bank. Me as a shareholder who bought 2 shares at 200 baht don't have to pay anything. All I have to pay is to pay the 200 baht for the shares. That's all. Once I paid the 200 baht, once I have already paid the 200 baht for the shares, that's all my liability is. So you see, these 3 things are what makes a company so attractive as a person to do the business. Compared to operating the business alone as an individual. Because one, you can have the opportunity to get more money from other people, thereby raising more capital. You have 100,000 baht. Here you can get 500,000 baht because you can get other people to buy your shares. You can get other people's money. And other people will be quite happy to buy your company shares. Why? Because there is a possibility of getting profit, sharing in your company's profit at the end of the year, if your company makes a profit. Now, if they don't make a profit, their risk is also quite limited. Their risk is limited to the money they use or the money they invest in your shares, no more than that amount of money. Also, the liability for money that the company owes other people, the company's debt, is also limited to the amount of shares. Once the shareholder or me, as in the example, who has paid for my 200 baht share price, that's all I have to pay. But you see, from the company's advantage, they can get much more capital from other people as compared to one woman show opening a shop with very limited capital. Okay, now this is the reason why. The people who bought shares in a company, who give the money to the company to buy the shares of the company, are known as the owners, the co-owners of the company. All right? Yes, you're correct. The people who bought shares in the company is what is known as shareholders. One of the main players of the company. Shareholders of the company. Right? They paid money and they got a share. They paid money into the company's bank account and the share comes to them. Okay, and all of them collectively, all shareholders who bought shares collectively, are known as the co-owners of the company. Right? Why do they use the word co-owners? Why do they use the word owners? Because without this capital, the company cannot do anything. No money to pay electricity, employ people, buy things to sell, buy machines to make things to sell. All that needs money. The money comes from where? Here. Capital of the company. And this is why these people are collectively known as the co-owners. เจ้าของร่วมกัน of the company. Alright, that's one of the main players of the company, the shareholders. There's another group of people who is the other group of main players of the company. They are known as the directors. Alright, okay. Before I go to directors, maybe I would at this point enlarge, expand, elaborate further in detail. Step by step on how a company comes to become a company, how a company gets born. All right. So you see, I'm explaining this not to waste your time or to go into details unnecessarily. I'm expanding on this so that you can see exactly how a company works. So in other words, you can understand how a company works by knowing in detail how it comes to be a company. All right, let me just explain it in the steps and then you will see. I use a different color. Maybe I use green. Maybe I'll use black then. The company starts, like all things, in somebody's brain. An idea from somebody's brain. Pink, an idea. A light bulb goes out. All right. Somebody, maybe one night you have been dancing all night in a pub, all right, in a tech or somewhere, all right, and you leave the place with your friend, all right, it's 4 a.m. in the morning, 3:30 a.m. in the morning, you're half sleepy, maybe you're a little bit drunk as well, and you get a moment of enlightenment. You realize that, hey, I don't want to study masters after I graduate from MUIC. I don't want to study masters after I have finished from university. I want to sell a particular product that nobody has. I want to sell a particular service that nobody has. And by selling this thing or this service, many people would want to buy it. Many people will buy from me and I will become a multi-billionaire one day. All right? And then you look at your friend looks at you and you ask yourself, well, how much money do I have with me right now to buy this thing or to make this thing to sell, right? Because to sell, you need to make it, or to buy it from someone else to sell it again. That is money. Well, how much money you have? And then you figure out, I have 100,000 baht. And then you look to your friend and you ask your friend, how much do you have? And your friend goes, I only have 40,000 baht. With both you and your friend, you have only 140,000 baht. This thing that you want to make, this thing that you think would sell exceedingly well all over the world, would need machines to make, would need employees to help you to make it, you would need people to help you to market it, you will have to advertise it everywhere, on the internet, on TV, right? In between football matches, in between sporting events, right? All that needs money. And you figure out, okay, the machines, I need like 10 machines, I need to employ 50 people, I need an advertising plan. And if you figure out that all that you need a capital of, let's say, you need a capital, let's say 8 million baht. 8 million baht. Now you only have this. You and your friend only have this. So, what should you do? This is where you start thinking about other people's money. Alright, the steps that we will proceed here is this. It's also the steps on how the company gets to become a juristic person. The first thing you and your friend do is to, I'll put here step 1. Is to come up with the name of the company. What do you guys want your company to be called? And you go to reserve. Step 1, okay? You go to reserve the company's name. At the Ministry of Commerce. Like every person, it has a name. Right? Like every person, it has a name. So you go to reserve the company's name at the Ministry of Commerce. After doing that, right, I think this now you don't actually have to go physically to the Ministry of Commerce. You can actually do this online during government working hours. All right, at the Ministry of Commerce website. After you've reserved the company's name, step 2 is, of course, you do all these things that you have been learning in business planning in university. You have to come up with a business plan. The aim of the business plan is to get people to buy your company shares. So you need to be able to sell to people the plan of your company. What kind of product you're selling. You need to tell people that this is the best product or service that has ever happened in this world. All right. So that people would say, okay, we love your idea. We want to invest in your company. We want to give you more money, capitals to produce this product or to buy this product or service. All right. You have to give some sort of a projection plan, like in the next 3 years, how much profit you're going to make in the next year, how much profit you're going to make in the next years, and the third year after that. Give some sort of a profit projection so that these people have hope, right, to invest in your company's shares, to give you more capital, right? So what people normally do is that maybe they will book a nice seminar room in a hotel, and you of course invite your friends, your family, right, and your friends, your family's friends, your relatives' friends. Right? It's a bit like Facebook friending, right? Friending, right? You try to get as many people as possible to go into the seminar. And in this seminar, you would sell your business plan. This business plan that you've been studying how to make it, how to put it together in university. This is where the plan will come in. How you got to tell people how you're going to market the product or service, right? How you going to, are you going to have machines to make it? Are there modern technology machines to make it? Up-to-date technology to make it? How many employees you're going to employ? All right. Where you're going to market? Right. Profit projection. Basically, all of this is done with one single aim. Get their money. Get them to buy your company's shares so that you will get more capital to operate the business. So, all right. Now, during this step, all right, you would also do one thing. This is you and your friend would also do one thing. Register a document at the Ministry of Commerce. This you have to go there physically. It's called a Memorandum of Association. Or they call it the MOU. Or in Thai they call หนังสือบริคลสนธิ หนังสือบริคลสนธิ What is this document about? What is the MOU about? The MOU is basically a document that has your name and your friend's name, because both of you are what is known as the founders or sometimes they call the promoters of the company. In Thai, they have a very simple word for it, ผู้ก่อตั้งบริษัท the people who started the company. It started from the idea of your brain and your friends. Alright, the memorandum of association will have both your names. Alright, how much capital you need, probably an address for where the company will be located. That will be in this document. Alright, then once you finish with your business plan selling, you get a certain amount, you generated a certain amount of interest in people to buy your company shares. Alright, people starts paying up for the shares, money starts coming into the company's bank account, the company starts selling shares, alright, to the shareholders. Okay, so maybe I'll just put it out clearly. Yeah, I think this is enough. You know, it will be too much information. Money starts coming into the company's bank account, right? The shareholders gets their shares, okay, or they have bought the shares. Once this is done, okay, the promoters of the company would send a letter of invitation, probably in an email nowadays, to invite all the people, these people, alright, who bought shares, which includes you, your friend, and everybody else who bought the shares, to come to what is known as a statutory meeting. Now, what is a statutory meeting? Let me move the camera down a little bit to give more space. The statutory meeting is the first shareholders meeting of the company. The people here who bought the shares would all go to this statutory meeting, the first meeting of the company. Right? To decide on a few things. There's a few agendas that they have to decide. Now, this is not written by the law. It's just something done in practice. Alright? The agendas. Alright? It's not something set by the law that the statutory meeting must have this agenda. No. The law only says that there will be a statutory meeting. There will be an invitation letter sent out to invite people who bought the shares to come to the statutory meeting. That's all the law says. What is discussed, right? What is the agenda of the meeting is not stated by the law. But in practice, there are a few things that is decided, a few agendas that are decided in the statutory meeting. The first one, appointment of directors. Appointment of directors. This is where the director comes in. Second one, appointment of managing director. Or sometimes you call this the chief executive officer or CEO. Appointment of, number 3, appointment of the company's accountant, the person that would do the accounts of the company, who make records of money coming in, money going out of the company's bank account. And what's it for? For appointment of the company's auditor. An auditor is the person who checks on the accounts of the company. The accounts of the company, I'm talking specifically here. Most of you have studied accounting. What are the accounts of the company recorded in? What are the documents, the financial documents? 1, the balance sheet, 2, the income statement, right? This is all recorded, created, made by the accountant. There's a person who will check all that to approve it or not, and this person is called the auditor. And of course, the auditor and the accountant has to be two different persons. They cannot be the same person. Of course, right? The person who make the accounts and the person who do the accounts has to be two separate person. Two different person. Alright? Now, I want to emphasize on directors and the managing director or CEO, because the director is the directors and the managing director are the people who would manage, not own, manage the business of the company on a daily basis. The managing director manages the business of the company on a daily basis. The managing director would have to be at the company every day. The company is a juristic person, it's not a human being. It needs a representative, a daily representative, a daily agent that will represent it in all its actions. That person is this: the managing director or the CEO. These guys here, the directors. Alright, these guys here, the directors. They are also the managers. But they don't have to be at the business on a daily basis. They meet once a month, maybe once a month, twice a month, to decide management decisions for the company in what is known as a board of directors meeting or board meeting, or in Thai they call Prachum board. Alright. Board of directors refers to all the directors in the company, including the managing director. Comes under directors. Alright. These two groups are the one. The managing director is normally one or two people. With this group of directors, they together are the managers of the company. Okay? This is the other group of players, main players of the company. One group of main players of the company are the co-owners. They own, they don't manage, the shareholders. The shareholders own the company by providing the capital through buying shares. The other group of the main players are the managers who would manage the business of the company. Alright, some of you may be asking question, can the shareholder and the director be the same person? Answer is yes. In the Thai law, there is no law saying that in the Thai law, there is no law that says the shareholder and the director has to be two different persons. No, it can be the same person. But when the particular shareholder is in the shareholders meeting, the shareholder thinks like a shareholder, make decision like a shareholder. What do you mean make decision like a shareholder? Make decision, think like an owner of the company, not as a manager of the company, as an owner of the company. When the same person is in the board of directors meeting, think like a manager of the company. So to give you a practical example, like shareholders meeting, decisions that are made in the shareholders meeting would be things like, should we change our kind of business to include other kinds of business activity? Let's say our business is a supermarket business. Should we also have insurance business? Is the capital of 500,000 too low? Should we increase the capital of the company? Right? Should our company liquidate and goes bankrupt, close the business? Right? Should our company join with another company to become a merger? These are decisions made by owners, co-owners in the shareholders meeting. Right? Should we appoint a new manager? Right? These are decisions made by a shareholders meeting. In the directors meeting, they make decisions dealing with managing of the company. Decisions dealing with managing of the company would be like, should we employ more employees? Should we sack some employees? Should we recommend an increase in pay of employees? Right? Should we have a new kind of way to advertise our company's products? These are all decisions made by managers of the company. So the same person can be in both meetings, but that same person will be wearing different hats, so to speak. The hat of an owner in here and the hat of a manager in here. Now, as you can see, coming back to this, the statutory meeting, step 2. The statutory meeting would appoint the directors and the managing directors, the accountant and the auditor. Who appoints? Take note, who is in this meeting? The co-owners. Alright? Now, once this meeting is completed, directors has been appointed, managing director or the CEO of the company, the person who will manage the business on a daily basis is appointed, the accountant, the auditor is appointed. Okay, some bigger companies, multinational companies with a lot of capital and a lot of branches all over the country, they may even appoint a lawyer that would work only for this company, what they call an in-house lawyer or an in-house counsel. All right. But the SME or smaller companies, they normally go to a lawyer outside only when they have a problem. Once this meeting is completed, the statutory meeting is completed, all this has been decided, then it goes to step 3. Step 3 would be the last step. Step 3 is simply incorporating the company. Put it simply, registering the company. Once the statutory meeting has been completed, all these things has been decided in the shareholders meeting. You may be asking, how do the shareholders make a decision? By votes. In the shareholders meeting, in the statutory meeting, the majority votes will decide all these things, all these agendas. Appointment of directors, appointment of CEO, appointment of accountant, appointment of auditor. Once all of this has been decided in the statutory meeting by the shareholders, okay, then the shareholders would just step back. What do you mean step back? Chill. Do nothing. Play golf. Sit on the beach. Wait to hopefully get profit. After this meeting, the directors and the managing director or the CEO of the company would take over the running of the company's business, which means that the managing director's first job after this meeting would be to go to the Ministry of Commerce and incorporate the company or register the company. It is when the managing director has registered or incorporated the company that the company becomes a juristic person. And this person here would be the agent, the representative of the company. And this is important because when you do business with the company, you want to make sure that you're dealing with this person. You don't want to be talking or dealing with somebody who is not a representative of the company, right? You may be talking to someone, Mr. X, and he says, okay, he or she says, I'm from this company, our company can do this, our company can sell you this, our company can make so much to sell you. That person may be just bluffing, right? BSing you, not telling you the truth. Okay, and after all, this person may not even be the agent. So it's not binding on the company, whatever this person say. You want to make sure when dealing with a company, you want to make sure that you're dealing with this person. How do you know who is this person? go to the Ministry of Commerce website. There's an application called the DBD application, Department of Business Development application. This is the department that is in charge of companies registration at the Ministry of Commerce. Download the D department, B business development, D application, and you can search for the company's name there, and it will also show who is this person. Okay, you would say Mr. or Ms. so and so would be the one who has the power to sign documents and bind the company. That is this person. Okay, this is the person appointed by the shareholders, including all the other directors. Okay, so it is at step 3, where the juristic person of the company is born. Okay, so as you can see, through these 3 steps, reserving the company's name from your idea between you and your friend, okay, registering the memorandum of association, your name, your friend's name, the capital of the company, the intended capital of the company, getting people to buy shares, okay, and then after that get them to come to the meeting and vote for these people who will manage the company, the person who will do the accounts and check the accounts of the company. The director goes to register the company. After this, the company is born. Once the company is born from the registration, the next job of the managing director would of course be look for the place of the business. Where should the factory be? Rent the place, buy the place, right, to be the company's place, company's office, employ people, interview people to be the employees, right, get a marketing plan going, get everything going basically. The shareholders would just sit back, chill, and hope to receive profit in the subsequent years. And if they don't receive a profit, what would they have lost? Well, I think you know the answer now. So that's all I have to say for companies in general. The next part is a short part where I will talk briefly about the different kinds of the company. There are 2 different kinds of companies. All right, and I'll talk about it now. I'll talk about that in the next lecture. Sorry. Okay, this will be quite a short lecture. Okay, but this is all there is to cover for company in general. This part I am talking about the pages in the book is in chapter 2. Pages, let me have a look at it. Pages 13, 13, and 13, and basically 13, 13, 16, 16, and 17. So 13, 16, and 17.